Hello everyone. We are starting off with a discussion of the play The Rivals by Richard Sheridan. First of all, we are reading a very short introduction that will give us the right orientation towards the play. Puff in Sheridan's play The Critic mentions sheer necessity as being the motive force behind the creation of his own particular art. And although necessity may not have been the only reason for Sheridan to try his hand at playwriting with the rivals, it certainly could have been one of them. The author is actually talking about the circumstances under which Sheridan became a playwright. He tried his hand at playwriting with the play The Rivals. The Rivals was Sheridan's first play. Sheridan was undergoing education in the field of law when he suddenly switched to playwriting as a result of certain unexpected events in his life. In April of 1773, at the age of 21, he had married after a complex series of events that involved parental opposition, two duels, and an elopement to France, the radiantly beautiful singer Elizabeth Linley. And although there was some money on her side, there was very little on his. It is not altogether surprising, therefore, to find him in one of his letters discussing the rivals, chiefly in terms of its ability to make him at least £600. So you can see that Sheridan was in need of money when he decided to try his hand at playwriting, and subsistence was one of the greatest aims he had in mind when he wrote the play The Rivals. He had got married against all odds to the beautiful singer Elizabeth Linley, and even though she had some money on her side, he did not have any money to support him. So it was in that context that he gave up his studies in law and started writing plays. He switched to the profession of a writer. However, if these were his initial expectations, then the opening night, that is 17th January 1775, the first night on which The Rivals was staged, must have been a cruel disappointment indeed, because that night The Rivals was not well received. It was thoroughly criticized on different grounds. One of the most important grounds of criticism was that it was too long. The play was considered too long. Another important ground of criticism was the poor acting put forward by Lee, who played the part of Sir Lucius Outrigger. You are already familiar with the character Sir Lucius Outrigger in The Rivals, and that part was played by the actor called Lee, and his acting was thoroughly criticized by critics and audience alike. And you can read a series of criticisms that were launched against The Rivals in different publications of that time. And what happened was the play was withdrawn on the opening night, after the opening night presentation, and it was revised thoroughly. It was cut short, the length was reduced, and several unacceptable expressions, or the expressions which people thought were not good, not acceptable, they were removed from the play The Rivals, and it was staged again on Saturday 28th January 1775. And on this occasion, the play was well received, and it became a successful beginning for Richard Sheridan as a playwright. And as you know, he later wrote new plays like The School for Scandal, The Critic, etc. However, he had a very fitful beginning, since on the very first day of presentation, The Rivals was not well received. Then another important point, that is, on the first day of presentation, The Rivals was presented along with a prologue. A prologue, as you know, is an introductory section which gives the audience an orientation towards the play itself. So, on the first day of presentation, a prologue was used, and in this prologue, you see a scene, a court scene, with an attorney and a sergeant at law discussing the attempt made by a new writer to compose a play. And it is shown as if the sergeant at law is pleading the case of the playwright before the court, and the judges are none other than the public, the audience. So you have such a prologue that was presented on the first night of presentation of the play The Rivals. However, since the play was not well received on that night, that prologue also got removed and a new prologue was introduced by Sheridan. We need to go through both these prologues.